Hello my friends, welcome again to iOS Essential, and today we will harness the knowledge of CGAffine which we gathered in last couple of tutorials of CGAffineTransform, and we'll try to build up animation using combination of translation, scaling and animation. So let's move forward then. We'll first see what we did in the last couple of demos of tutorials of CGAffineTransform. So the first one is the translation. The next one is the scaling. So you did. The previous one was the rotational animation then. And in this tutorial we will harness what we have done in all these three tutorials, and we'll bring a combination. We will use a combination of each one of it and perform an animation using them. So let's see how we'll do that. Okay, so just to save us time, because I know your time is very precious, so what I have done is, which I always do in the previous tutorials as well, I have taken a view controller, designed it as I did it earlier. I have taken two labels and a button. I've created the outlets. Okay, so that is pretty simple, nothing much. Okay, so you can also create this UI as well as you want. Don't worry about the background image, so it is just for display purpose only. Okay, and then I've created this a view controller for this, and added this view controller in the storyboard class. The view controller name is combination view controller. So let's jump into the combination view controller. So these are the outlets of label 1, label 2, and the action of the button that will perform the animation. Okay, so let's do some coding in the animation. So we will do as usual, we will use the UI view.animate, the simplest one, and we'll use the completion block here. Okay, now the duration I'll give as 1, then animation, and completion block would be so this completes our block. Now let's start some coding into it. So to perform a combination of CGAffine transform elements, we actually need to first create a transform and add each transform into that variable. Okay, so I'll create a transform variable which is of CGAffineTransform. Okay, so this is how I create. Then what I'll do is I'll create a translation transform, let's say translated by, and what I'll do is what I am trying to do is, when I animate, my master should go to my chef position and chef should come to the master position. So there is approximately a distance of 70 points between each, distance of 70 points between the two labels. So I'll say like translate this by 80 points, the label 1, which I'll say this is for label 1 which I'm adding, and for label 2 I'll say minus 80, because it has to travel, decrease the y coordinate. Okay, the second is our scaling. Let's say dot scale, and I'll say scale it thrice, 3x position. Then we will have the rotation, so transform dot rotated by rotating the radian. So what I'll do is I'll try to use the class method which we created in the previous tutorial in rotation. Okay, and I'll give rotate by 180 degree. Okay, before you continue with this tutorial, it will be better if you can go and have a look at the last 3 tutorials of CGAffineTransform, so that you have a clear idea of how each transformation works. Okay, let now since we have added all the 3 transform, let's add it to the label. Okay, so this will be self.label1.layer dot set affine transform and the transform. So we'll do transform. Now same way, what I'll do is I'll create another transform 1, which will be CGAffineTransform, sorry, CGAffineTransform dot identity. then I'll say transform as transform dot translated by, and it will be -80 so that it moves to the master's position. This is for chef. It should move in the it should decrease its y coordinate for transformation. Transform 1, it will be transform 1, sorry, right? Then transform 1 dot scale thrice, or let's say we will scale is 2x itself, so that we can see some difference also. Okay, but rotated by, use degree to rotate by 180 degree. Okay, and then serve dot able to dot layer dot set transform s transform 1. Okay, for time being I won't write anything into completion block to bring it back to its original position. Let's hit and run our application now and see how it goes. Next. Okay, when I hit animation, see how the animation will perform. So it has translated, it has scaled, and it has rotated as well. Okay, so all the three transformation has performed here. Transformation has performed here. So let's write the completion block as well to bring them back to its identity position, to its same position, or probably I can say. Okay, this will bring it back to its original position, but let's do some different changes. Let's say I just want to do transformation and translation and scaling, and let's just change some points as well, like scaling with negative, which will automatically rotate it. Okay, so yeah, uh, our completion box should also have animation blocks so that the identity transformation performs in an animated way. So let's do that as well. Okay, let's run it. This will be just the duration and the animation block in this case. Sec, I think I did something. Okay, I think you should fix it. Yeah, let's run the application now. It should work in the animated way. So this is where we are just doing the translation and the scaling. Okay, so you can see this is translation and animation happening only, but rotation is happening because we did the negative parameter in the scaling. So let's remove that and just see the scaling and the translation. So this is just the scaling and the translation which is happening, no rotation happen. Now let's see the translation and rotation now. So we are checking different combinations which can be performed. See rotation and translation, but no scaling. If you can check, there is no scaling here. Okay, now third one in the last combination which I can show you is scaling and the rotation. Yeah, so you can see there is a scaling happening, rotation happening, but no translation. So it is at the same position. Okay, right. Now there are a few cases where one of the transformation overrides the other one. So let's say like I have all the three here, the rotation at 180-degree and scaling as well. But let's see, I'll give scaling as negative. So in this case what happens is scaling rotates our views. So in that case the rotation will be overridden and the rotation won't happen. So let me just show you that case also. In some way if you got stuck in this case, so this is how it happened. So you can say scaling is happening but it hasn't rotated in the clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. If you check, the translation has happened, the scaling is happening, and rotation of scaling is happening, but not the scale rotation anti-clockwise or clockwise direction. Okay, so these are some cases where one of these overrides the other. Okay, so this is how the combination of each of these CGFN transformation works. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching.